Yo, Lo, are you guys a bad defensive team when AD's off the court?
The nigga, yo, I'm about to double check to see if even if that's true. Like for literally, I'm having an argument with people to see if there's another defender on the team, and niggas are surprised by what I'm saying and trying their hardest to contextualize what I'm saying, as if like nigga couldn't even name me another defender. There's no way you're that. There's no way you watch the games and then you think to yourself that the Lakers are a good defensive unit because AD is anchoring them. They give quality effort, without a doubt, especially from time to time. But that is not a good defensive team. At best, average. But that is not a good defensive unit. You can be delusional all you want to, but without Anthony Davis, that defense is atrocious. It's atrocious. Hell, even with him on the court today, Darius Garland and D. Mitch had 21 apiece before halftime. If somebody tells you, yo, there's no other defenders on the court, the audacity of somebody arguing that because of defensive rating, you fucking idiot, you imbecile. That team is bad defensively. And the overarching point was being made is that you cannot turn around and just add one-dimensional players on the roster. You cannot turn around and just add Carmelo Anthony or a non-defensive player on the team because you're trying to address one problem. The Lakers is not a one-problem team. It's so far removed from a one-problem team that adding Carmelo on the roster or a three-point shooter because you're trying to aid with spacing. Bro, I'm so serious. That's another thing I just noticed with a lot of people. They just don't watch basketball. They don't fucking know the game. They just sit there, ball watch, and they think that they know what they're talking about. If Carmelo Anthony was on the floor, then they wouldn't leave him open. They would just leave the other non-shooters open. That's all they would do. You would still have a problem shooting. It would still be a problem. Spacing would still be a problem. You have three players who can't make a jump shot. Three of them. Crazy enough, cannot make a jump shot. Matt Reeves is another player. Not Matt Reeves. Matt Ryan is supposed to be the three-point shooter, but he can't play because he's that much of a liability defensively. So the player in which you're even referring to already exists on the team. FYI, I don't know. Again, I know some of them didn't watch basketball last year, but Carmelo's three-point percentage looked as great as it did just because of the first 15 to 20 games of the season. Because the remainder of the year, he was bad. It's crazy that like the amount of like dumb shit that so like too many Laker fans talk about. It's so concerning, bro. Because then you can't even have a genuine conversation. There should be no pushback on somebody saying, yo, Anthony Davis is the only defender on the team. Only legit like player who can actually add some value defensively on the team consistently. He's the only one to do it. There should be no pushback from that. That shouldn't even be a hot take. And then when further trying to explain, then somebody sat there and said, oh, isn't that just LeBron teams? LeBron wasn't on a team with Shane Battier, Chris Bosh, Chris Anderson coming off the bench in Miami. If you believe LeBron was the only defensive-oriented player in his first stint in Cleveland, especially in 2009 and 2010, even in 2020, you think Anthony Davis was the only player playing defense in 2020? We know that not to be the case because in the following year when he was hurt, the Lakers still had the number one ranked defense. It's so fucking embarrassing talking to Laker fans. It's so fucking embarrassing, bro. The things in which people talk about should not be that complex. Every single time I hop in a Lakers space, it's just like some of the most dense conversations that are being had, and you stop back and you listen to it, and it's like, bro, what are you saying right now? It's so fucking dense. Even with the whole conversation leading up to them saying we should just trade Anthony Davis. And do what? What is that? Unless you're saying just blow the whole team up, then just say blow the whole team up. But what is trading? What is why trading AD? Why? Oh, he's not the player that we thought he was going to be. Yeah, because you're not adding any complementary players around him. Doesn't mean he's not that player. That makes no sense at all. Bro, like, Jesus, bro. This would be the dumbest. I swear, bro. The Lakers fans have quickly became the dumbest fan base I think I've ever talked to. Part of it because some of these people are fucking LeBron fans who just ball watch when LeBron has the ball in his hands and actually don't understand the nuances of basketball. Some of them are also Westbrook fans who damn near do the exact same thing. Like, these niggas, y'all, I'm very serious. It's concerning talking to some of these Laker fans, bro. They just don't comprehend basketball at all. Like, how the hell could you watch today's game and sit there and say Anthony Davis should have scored more? Every time him and LeBron got the ball anywhere near close to the paint, there was like 3 players just basically standing in the lane. Almost every time. Every time. I have no idea how they watch basketball and come to the conclusion that they come to, bro. And every solution I hear from Laker fans are some of the most idiotic shit I've ever heard in my life. And it's the reason why you can head into a new season and you'll spend the entire offseason talking about trades and transactions that will never fucking happen. It's why you'll sit there and you'll sit there and try to explain to them why this shit won't work. But as soon as you explain to them that, oh, you're not a real Laker fan. Oh, you're a hater. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Big men will defend Russell Westbrook because he can't shoot off and they can stay close to the lane. Oh, but they're going to guard Jokic, Mobley? Are they going to guard Westbrook? Yes. We saw it last year. That shouldn't even be a surprise to nobody. What the fuck are we talking about? Some of the most densest conversations I've ever had stem from people who it's so fucking vividly clear to me that they just don't watch the game. Watch the games. Watch them. Carmelo Anthony does not solve a problem. It presents a problem that already exists, but it makes it worse, which is defensively. And he was an inconsistent three-point shooter last year. If you actually watch the games, watch them. Just watch them. They didn't even, let's just talk about pace for a second. The Lakers running a half-court set every fucking time down the court is crazy against a team like Cleveland. The amount of times I saw players close out on non-shooters and they didn't even attack the closeout. Kevin Love closing out. That nigga can barely stay on his toes, and yet he can comfortably close out because nobody on the team plays with pace unless Westbrook has the ball in his hands. LeBron slows down the pace every time, high post, low post, or pick and roll with AD, and on the weak side, they're doing nothing but setting up to send proper help because there's a non-shooter on the other side. So guess what? FYI, even if they got somebody like Melo to replace Austin Reeves or Melo to replace Troy Brown, all they would do is still split the shooters and go help on Melo when the ball get rotated over and leave Westbrook wide open. It's the same problem. If they take Westbrook off and they put, I don't know, God forbid Kendrick Nunn, I don't know what he's there for. They'll do the same thing to Kendrick Nunn. They'll do the same thing to Austin Reeves. Even if you load up the weak side with 3-point shooting, they'll just help either one pass away to get the ball out of LeBron's hands and make somebody else do it. But even if you want to line up with LeBron, AD, and the three best, let's just say Melo, Matt Ryan, and Lonnie Walker, nigga, you had two players on the court who cannot defend at all. And Lonnie Walker gives quality effort, but he's really bad on rotations, and he doesn't understand how to properly close out. So even in the most optimal offensive lineups that you could run, you will be giving up even more defensively because there's not enough players who can impact the floor on both sides. So no, bring in someone like Carmelo Anthony or another player who can maybe space out the floor but doesn't add anything defensively does not solve any problems. And being very honest, bro, that game, if you were watching me on stream, I was telling people on stream, but the lead that the Lakers had was not a real lead. That shit was fake. They got lucky because both Mobley and Jared Allen were in foul trouble. As soon as they were no longer in foul trouble, and they were able to play a good portion of the second half, bro, the Lakers couldn't score at all in the half court. So again, when you slow down the pace and you couldn't get any transition plays, because there was a stretch where the only shots that they were able to get was Westbrook going downhill and he threw a lob to AD for the tip-in, two LeBron fast breaks, and then the LeBron three-pointer that he made that they left him open for really to begin with. There's like a stretch of minutes, like almost a quarter's worth of basketball, where those are the only plays that the Lakers are able to score on. Because the Lakers play with zero pace unless Westbrook is handling the offense. But of course, that's not being discussed in rooms. You know what's being discussed? Let's add Carmelo Anthony. Hey, there's no defense on the perimeter. Garland and I'm not even like knocking Garland and Mitchell, but Garland and Mitchell, they went for 20 in the first half and then got the team in foul trouble because nobody couldn't stand in front of them. Hey, the defense is really bad. There's only one real defender. Why is that getting pushed back? Obvious statements. And instead of actually focusing on the real problems with the Lakers, which is a shit front office that has no idea what they're doing, they're running around with a fucking thumb up their ass and making terrible decisions year after year after year. And yet Rob Pelinka gets a fucking contract extension. Instead of talking about that, we're about to go into another year where Laker fans are going to convince themselves that in a free agency class where there isn't any quality like game-changing free agents, that they're going to be able to sign some players and it's going to make all the difference. I don't know if y'all know, bro, but LeBron, I hope, just as a fan, I hope that this is not like the new version of LeBron. Because if it is, bro, the only way that he could function in the offense is if it's proper floor spacing. Because he can't shoot at all. Like, not even in the slightest. Bro, LeBron is struggling to get past Dean Wade, Kelly Olynyk, Lauri Markkanen. Like, those have been his assignments in the past 2 games, he's settling for jump shots against those players. I don't know how that's not more concerning to people, bro. I just don't. I don't know how y'all watch. I don't know how people watch the games and just don't. Like, they don't even see that. Like, that's so weird to me. And yet they'll come at the end of the game, tell me the box score, and say, "Ooh, look what LeBron did." I'm like, bro, you just not watching the games, bro. There's no way you watching the games. There's absolutely no fucking way you're watching these games. Yo, Ash,
What's up, man?
why? I mean, why? I'm kind of confused of why why Laker fans are this bad, bro.
It's kind of simple. I mean, you're the largest fan base in the NBA. If you're going to be the largest fan base in the NBA, it means you're going to have the higher concentration of people who don't watch basketball. Combine that with having LeBron and Russ fans, or just like a lot of players, fans in general, right? Because you have a lot of dominant personalities on the team. You're also going to attract their fans as well. So you just have a very high concentration of people who want to spread agendas, not really want to talk about basketball for what it is.
Yeah, that's basically it. That's basically it. But this whole
Like
go ahead.
especially and it's a lot more noticeable once again because you are a Lakers fan. Like there's a lot of dumb fans everywhere, right? But you're Lakers fans, so it gets highlighted a lot more. So yeah, that's why you're dumb.
I just think Laker fans are just people who expectations for the Lakers in general. I said it beforehand. Y'all need to just go ahead and throw it. Actually, I was at first saying throw the season away, but after seeing how LeBron is looking right now, all funny shit aside, this is actually worse than how he usually starts the season. Like at first, you can see that he has like there's no rhythm. Like the guy looks completely out of it.
Like DJ, typically what Bron does when he starts out a season, he'll come in, he'll probably be a little lackadaisical on defense, right?
Yeah.
But he'll still have his key moments, right?
Yeah.
He'll still and then offensively, right? Like he'll come down, he'll maybe be a little jump shot dependent, right? Like these last 2 years, for example, right? We can go to 22 and 21, right? Even 20. Like he would come down the court, maybe a little lackadaisical, maybe even try some sugar. Like, yo, LeBron, like you'd laugh at that shit, right? But then you'd still see those moments like, oh, he's getting to the rim where he wants to go. He's doing this, he's doing that. You're not seeing that with LeBron this year. And once again, it's okay.
He looks very stiff. He just feels as if like it's. I mean, he's in year 20, so I'm okay with saying he's getting just like the game is just
like
faster.
LeBron James.
Yeah, exactly. He just does not look like LeBron James. And my whole thing is, like, the whole notion was, all right, you have AD and LeBron, just go ahead and try to build around them, sell the pieces, try to make a trade, and just build around these guys. But from what you're seeing from from that duo, like, for instance, in the league right now, they're not even a top 5 duo in the NBA right now, barely top 10. But it's not enough. Like for this team to be the best version of itself, you have to get the best of AD and LeBron. And if right now it's a very it's not shocking because I mean it is year 20, but it's very very unfortunate because that was really what you could have banked on going into the season. That at the end of the day, you have AD and Bron will make it work. And even with those two, I just don't think it's enough.
And even if LeBron starts to quote unquote turn it up, right, later into the season, he gets better, like athletically, all etc. He looks better. The Lakers, like last off season, the off season of 2021, right, going into 22. The fact that like they're treating LeBron as if he's some immortal god, and that he's never going to get worse, he's never going to show signs of getting worse. That's a problem.
I would really, if I was like legit at LA, I could speak to
because DJ, you are actively wasting LeBron's prime
this
years.
Season, and on top of wasting this year, you get nothing out of this year. Even if you're bad, you don't get any picks. So there's nothing to even bank on saying, okay, well, we have a draft pick that we can at least use. You don't even get that. So I'm really questioning, like, okay, because I remember from the first week I was like, bro, this team is trash. Like you need to go talk to Palinka and see what the fuck he was doing. But seeing how they are now, and hopefully, let's say they get better. But right now, it looks like they're not looking good. If this continues, you have to ask yourself as a general manager, you can't just sit back and say, you know what, we're gonna keep this team and just wait till the offseason. Like, no, you just can't. You have to do something to improve it because at the end of the day, yeah, the goal for this team technically is a championship because of who's on it, but you don't get anything for losing these games. There's no reward.
And you really don't gain anything. You actually lose something when you get a worse LeBron next year, right? When
Yeah,
LeBron, see what LeBron's doing now. This is gonna happen next year for a longer period of time, or maybe just as long, for however long he's in this funk, or maybe it's all year. Maybe this is just who LeBron is now, right? And so, if that's the case, if LeBron's not a superstar like what Lowe's been saying, right? You got to blow this shit up. And if he gets back to being a quote unquote superstar, right? Then that means this should be a wake up call that you cannot be wasting years in which the nigga is 38 years old. They acting like
exactly.
he's 28, and they got 10 more
And
years
this
to be with
and
him.
that's what pisses me so much about like this offseason by the Lakers because it's like, man, you cannot waste you already messed up once. You just cannot waste the remaining years you have of LeBron James. Because I still think I'm still of the mindset where if LeBron James is on a well constructed roster, he's gonna bring out the most out of that roster. I still believe that. I think that this roster, it's there's just so many holes to where yes, LeBron is also declining, but it's like there's not much you can really do. I'm not taking no blame away from him at all. But again, it's just not it's a poorly constructed roster.
But DJ, my whole thing is they had opportunities, and maybe they still end up being the same. But like the fact is that the Lakers front office was incredibly unserious because there were offers. We saw many reports of the Lakers being able to finalize a deal to bring multiple players to this team who could have addressed some, not all of the issues to the length that they would have been able to address them. We don't know, but they would have been able to do it, right? And at least it would have shown me that this Lakers front office is trying to be serious about this shit, and they knew they fucked up. They treated LeBron, he's 28, like, oh man, Russ is off next year, man. Even if we are bad, let's keep Russ. Let's see what we can do with Russ, man. Even though we just got an all-season proof. And if we suck, shit, man, we got next off season where we can bring a max player for year 20 LeBron. That's so crazy.
And what's crazy, they're talking about bringing a max player when there's like who's the max player that's even available next year?
I don't
I
even
think
think
Kyrie, that's the one you're kind of siding right now.
I mean,
And the fact that Laker fans are banking on Kyrie to explode Brooklyn, and just straight implode it. Just it's gonna just go to shit. The fact that that's what they're like banking on right now is the craziest part because that is literally the last and only hope for them right now. That's it. That's it. Yo,
it's
sorry,
not a good situation.
sorry, T. I'm about to end the stream. I mean, in the room. But yeah, it's just depressing, and it's just even more depressing when you try to like speak to people about it, and like it's just a bunch of nonsense that's being spewed like left and right. Again, it shouldn't be no pushback of me saying, hey, there's no other defender on this team outside of really Anthony Davis, like at all, like none, like zero. And I know, and I actually look at the numbers. So yeah, the numbers actually do say when he's off the floor, their defense is better. I just don't. Looking at with my own eyes, as soon as AD comes off the floor, I just like cringe because I just know for a fact that the defense is not going to hold up. I just cringe. But yo, I thank y'all for coming out. The room is gonna be saved, so y'all can continue to listen to it. But I'll just see you on the timeline, man.